Tomorrow I shall be catching the train to work as opposed to driving. We wanted to, as a committee, find out how easy it was for people to do some of their normal day-to-day journeys without using a car. Now I know the timetable here in Rhoose. It's very, very easy to remember. We have a standard pattern timetable, which means the train leaves to Cardiff 6 minutes past the hour every hour throughout the day. Going in the Bridgend direction, I know it's 12 minutes past the hour every hour throughout the day. It's easy for people to remember, and it encourages people, I think, to use the trains because they remember the timetable. But I don't use the buses so often, and I think it would be interesting from my point of view to have a look at the different ways in which you can research journeys to plan a different route to what you're used to. Obviously, with different kinds of technology, if you've got a smartphone or if you've got an iPad or something along those lines, there are a number of different apps that can help you plan your journey and find out more information about what's happening on your route. I wanted to point out the Travelline Cymru app, which I find particularly useful. It's got lots of different information on there about things like bus and coach operators, road transport, news and notices on things like if there are snow alerts or things like that, and also a directory of transport operators, so you can find out about different bus and coach operators and also about things like taxis too. But the thing I use probably the most often is the journey planner. In terms of how you use it, it's very, very easy. You put in where you're going from, where you're going to, and when you want to travel. I want to arrive tomorrow morning at 9 AM. And that's an arrival time done. It gives you options to choose how you want to travel. Well, I don't mind, so I'm leaving that up to the travel planner. And then hit the button to plan the trip. So it gives me lots of different options. It's given me a range of different things, including combinations of bus and train, bus on its own, train on its own, and various different kinds of changes. But here I work out, there are a couple of problems that I'll face, namely that in order to take my children to school for their breakfast club at 8:15 in the morning, I can't get to work on time using public transport, unfortunately, and the earliest I can get to work using public transport, having dropped my children off, is well, probably about 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'll choose that journey there. It's telling me that I need to walk to the station. It's telling me that I take a train to Cardiff Queen Street, I change at Queen Street onto another train directly to Cardiff Bay and just walk across the bay from there. If you don't know the area and you're a bit worried about the walk, the app actually gives you a map of where you're going from and where you're going to. So it's very, very easy to use and very helpful. But the one thing it's not quite so good on is whether or not there are any delays. So there's another app that you can use as well from Arriva Trains Wales, which is called the Journey Checker. And if there are problems with any of the services, they show up on this system here. And you can see a few, mostly green, but a few yellow boxes, and those are areas where there are minor delays. So this evening there's a minor delay on the Heart of Wales line and Swansea to Cardiff, but looking at the Valleys lines, fantastic news, they are all green, so tonight they're all good, but I'll check it again tomorrow morning to make sure that all of my trains are on time tomorrow as well. Right, children and mum all up and dressed, ready to go, time to walk to school. Well, this is my train on its way up to Bridgend, and I'll be catching it on its return journey from Bridgend back into Cardiff and then through to Aelodau'r. So I've arrived at Rhoose station, ready for my train, but the next train's not for another half an hour because we have a service just once an hour at the moment on the Vale of Organ line. The information boards are up and running. They're working on one side but not on the other, so that's not quite ideal really. Well, we had had a couple of rebellions on the school run this morning, but we've all had plenty of exercise, and I'm now at Rhoose station in plenty of time for my train. In fact, I've got nearly a 40-minute wait for the next train because we only have one train an hour at the moment on this particular line. It means it's easy for people to remember the timetable, but it does mean that sometimes you've got quite a long wait. Well, it's 9:07. My train should have arrived about a minute and a half ago, and it's not here yet, and it won't be here in the next couple of minutes because I can see that the level crossing gate behind me hasn't yet come down. So I'm going to check online. I've checked the Arriva Trains Wales boards and there's no major delays or problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at National Rail Inquiry's website and go to the live departure boards for my station. So, travelling from station Rhoose to Cardiff. But there goes the level crossing gate, so hopefully that tells me what I actually need to know. The train will be here in 2 minutes. The Pwyllgor line is a really pretty service. Here we're just going over the viaduct at Kerry, and you see the sun shining off the sea, and it's absolutely glorious. Into Cardiff now, and the train is back on time. Well, my train arrived at Queen Street literally just in time to watch my connection to Cardiff Bay pull out, but luckily this is a very regular service. It's every 15 minutes or so, so the next one is in about 10 minutes time. I don't have too long to wait. We're on the Cardiff Bay train, affectionately known by the staff as Bubbles because it is a bubble car. Very cute. You'd see one of these actually on reserved railways. People go on day trips especially to see trains like this, and we've got one actually in operation on the Cardiff Bay line, which is a bit of a treat really for train buffs. So here I am on the steps of the Southernth, safe and sound after my journey into work by train. The journey time's been about 2 hours 20 minutes, which is a lot longer than my normal drive to work, but most of that was waiting between dropping my children off at school and catching the first train in the first place. On the days when I don't have to take my children to school, it's more like an hour, and that is very doable and very convenient. I'll be catching the train home again tonight, and I expect the journey time then to only be about an hour and